Hello, good afternoon. I cannot really remember anyone as a child who has not done some hide and seek game before. Can you? I can't. So today, that's what I want to be talking to you about. But I know that as children, yes, we can do hide and seek, but as adults, playing hide and seek has a different connotation, has a different consequence. So, hello and welcome to the Visionary Introverted Woman Show. I'm your host, Patience Ogunbona, also known as the Visionary Introverted Woman. As a multi passionate woman, I bring you talks and rich conversations on topics to help you leverage your introverted strengths and share actionable strategies for success in life, business, career, and leadership. Basically, what I really help you do is bring you some inspiration that will create an impactful presence, help you create impactful presence, and also build your confidence so that you can go out there and position yourself as an authority in whatever marketplace you find yourself. That helping you to thrive as well as achieve profit. So today, obviously, I want to talk to you about a topic that is very dear to my heart. And it's all about hide and seek, the introvert dilemma. So, as we well know, introversion, many people say quiet, many people say you hide as an introvert, and really you want at the same time to be seen, to be heard, to make a difference. And that is what I want to talk about today in depth. I want to share a story as I start. Yeah. First of all, how do you like my purple, my purple hair? I'm doing something different today, a different color. I'm not so sure about it, but I'll roll with it as the sun shines. And today, this morning, I really enjoyed one of the few times I enjoy morning networking is when there is someone and something interesting to go out there and associate with. And today we had the Archbishop of Canterbury. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the time, the conversations, and the chamber CEO and everybody there, including the borough council and all the networking that we did early this morning, 7:30. I really enjoyed that. So so as an introvert, you know, one of the things that people say is, oh, you don't like networking, but I really like people. And so when I find the right network, I really take time to enjoy myself. And I'm really enjoying networking with the Chamber of Commerce, the Kent Chamber of Commerce at the moment. They're doing a great job of finding locations that are interesting, bringing different things and people together and bringing different perspectives to have rich conversations. I love that. And so today I want to have rich conversations with you on this show. By all means, please take the time to interact with me. Take the time to share your views. Take the time to comment as you find it useful. So I want to start by talking about what we're talking about today: hiding and seeking, the introvert dilemma. So many years ago, I would say about roughly 15 years ago, I was working in the corporate world because now I run my own business, ATI Coaching Consulting and Training Limited. And then I was working in the corporate world as an auditor, and I found myself really struggling. So I asked, because there was a lot of budget allocated at that time to personal development. And that is always very useful, even today, to have that allocation of budget, right? So I was asked to go for a confidence workshop. Unfortunately for me, I attended that workshop that was run by an NLP coach. And this really set the path to my future and who I am and what I do today. And it was during that training that I actually realized some key things that I want to share with you today. So after the training, it was really valuable, really useful. I went up to the trainer and I said, I really want to display confidence. I want to get out there and really have an impact. But you see, people are not giving me the opportunity. I don't have the right collaborations. I don't have this. I don't have that. This is not happening. That is not happening for me. And she looked at me and said, "So, what exactly are you going to do to fix this?" I thought to myself, no, this is not my fault, really. This is people not giving me the chance, me not finding it easy to uh, put myself out there to get the progression that I need. Well, she then challenged me and said, "You need to think about what you're going to do." And in that moment, I realized a phrase that I really use these days. And that phrase is, if it's going to be, it's up to me. And you'd be saying, yeah, I thought to myself, if it's going to be, it's up to me. Here's the thing. I know that uh, we might think, okay, for me to get that presence going, there are many factors, there are many things that need to be considered. But I thought about some key things and thought about my challenges then. Now, the person and the work that I did from then on has shaped the way I live my life now. When you think about it, new level, new devil. So obviously, when I moved to business, I had to relearn some of the lessons. You know, in life, they say you learn, then you unlearn, and you relearn. So what she challenged me to do that day was to unlearn some of the things that were really standing in my way from creating the presence that I wanted. So the first thing, obviously, was to some of the challenges I will share with you right now. So the first one was for me, and I'm sure you can resonate with this, was introversion. Yeah, and still can be introversion. You know, when I say that, some people, they're quite defensive about it. I'm not defensive. I believe that introversion gives me purpose. I believe that my personality matters in the things that I do, how I'm wired matters, what happens matters, and all these things build up to who I am. So introversion, I needed more downtime than most people. And when I take away the downtime, I would look antisocial, right? I would look like uh, I was not wanting to associate with people. And one of the challenges you get with human beings, even myself included, is out of sight can be out of mind. So sometimes, because you're out of sight, you'll be out of people's mind to include you in things. What you need to do, obviously, we'll talk about that when I come to the other level. The other one that I really had to face, remember I said, she said I should look at what I needed to do rather than the circumstances that surrounded me. Like John Maxwell says, the person who progresses and achieves success is the person who is not captive to the environment in which he or she first finds themselves. So you might find yourself in an environment that is not a growth environment, it's not empowering. Before you start to change the environment, you have to see what is within yourself that you can empower, or what is within yourself that is contributing to that environment not working. So, like I said, the first one was my introversion had some things that I needed. I needed downtime, I needed a way space, and I needed to unwind from an open office. That sometimes meant that out of sight is out of mind. Who can resonate with this? I'm sure some of you can. When you feel free to comment and let me know. Now, the second one is fear of judgment, whether online or offline. At the time, I wasn't online much. I was offline and working in the office, and I'll bring it online. But basically, the fear of judgment. If I say something, if I do something, what will people say? People's opinion caused me to hide, caused me not to talk because I had the fear of judgment. But guess what? What I realized in that moment when she challenged me about the fact that it was up to me was there was a bigger judgment that was going on that I needed to address. And that's how I judged myself. If you're harsh with yourself, you can portray that out to other people, and they can pick up on that as well. And that's one thing I realized. If I didn't like myself, if I didn't value myself, if I didn't value the things that I was bringing to the table, and I didn't look at how valuable they were or are at the current time, how on earth will I be able to sell that to somebody else? What I would be portraying, was that idea that what I was bringing, or what I bring is not valuable. So I was already judging myself. And so even before people judge me, I would have judged myself. So that's one key thing to remember is about the judgment. The fear of judgment keeps you hiding, whereas you seek to be seen, to matter, to make a difference. But because you have the fear of judgment of the value of what you bring, you are hiding. The next one is the speed at which things happen. So everything currently, and in the real world, things can be very fast paced. Things move very quickly. Life is on the go, and even more so now with technology. Before you blink, an update has been given to your phone, an update has been given to this and that, and you find yourself really challenged by how to use these things to develop presence. And because of the lack of capability to do that, you can hide. So, and again, introverts generally, and I say generally, we have different types of introverts. So you might feel that this does not resonate with you. But I know that a lot of women and people that I work with tend to want space and time to think, time to digest information. So that speed, that need for speed, can cause us to feel inadequate sometimes and feel like, okay, if I'm not moving at the speed of lightning like everybody else and I'm not doing it quickly, there's no point doing it at all. I don't know if anybody can resonate with that. Let me know if you can resonate with what I'm trying to say. So that's one of those key challenges that you face. And then people, networking. I deliberately shared with you that I went networking this morning, and I went networking at 7:30. Not my usual thing. I would rather not go for very very early networking, but I have focused my mind on meeting people since the pandemic. I feel like after the 2 years I've had that break and meeting people, I would share with you during the other conversations I'm having on why exactly that is important. But you know so that's one of the things is whether online or offline, networking is part of how you create presence. It's part of how you create visibility for yourself, where you connect with people, they connect with you, they connect with what you're doing, and that's how you create it. But um the problem that people have, even sometimes with extroverts, is worry about the first impressions you make, and most times whether those first impressions are good enough. And again, I've heard more than one introvert, so many. One of the pet hates of introverts is small talk. But as we know, small talk leads to deeper talk, and sometimes is the bridge that you need to cross to get there. So that's one of the challenges that causes people to say, I'm not going for that. I'm not going to go online because I really can't stand small talk. I can't have those conversations and I really don't want to. And then we have basically another challenge that people would go through would be most online views come from people sharing their stories, the entertainment, and the videos. They need to be on video like this. I really remember the first times I started getting on video. I was so worried. I would retake and retake. And when I asked for feedback from people, when I asked people for feedback, it wasn't great feedback that was encouraging. It was like, oh, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? Why is this not working? And that really, for a while, made me to step back and say, no, I'm not doing this because I can't. But if you look at most platforms now, they want video, they want conversations. Those are the ones showing. And there is an element of needing to entertain people or come out there and be entertaining, So that has its challenges as well. So that causes people to actually uh, go away, and introverts to feel that they have to hide. And I've spoken to other introverts like myself. When you have a lot of video exposure, it feels the same like real life networking. You get so exhausted. You need a lot of downtime to unwind. I don't know why that is, but I think part of it is the focus and the intensity that it takes to create the resources. I see my extrovert friends, they've done one video, they're ready to go for the next. It's like that doesn't affect them as much as it does me sometimes when I have to take my downtime. And you find that sometimes that downtime can be longer than you want it to be, right? So that can affect as well. Then the other thing that I looked at for myself is, I thought about the fame and influence. And when we talk about influence, we say leadership is influence, and we talk about that. So it's like it seems to gain impact online. The numbers matter, your fame matters, and business and things in general, they talk about it being a numbers game. And truly, in many ways, it is. So, and you cannot escape that. You cannot escape that being the situation. So, those are just some of the things that, whether online or offline, ability to influence, ability to, if you feel like you don't have that influence over people, you tend to take a step back and a back seat and become an observer rather than come forward and participate. So that is the hiding bit where you feel like you need to hide. And yet you seek that impact, you seek that influence, and you seek that desire to make a difference, and you want to basically stop hiding. With hide and seek, when we talk about the game of hide and seek, you are hiding and then someone counts 1 2 3 and comes looking for you. In real life, obviously, if you hide, you are out of sight, and then people are not come looking for you. You have to go out there and put yourself out there and get people to seek you out, putting the little, what you could call it breadcrumbs, you could call it directing them, you could call it a funnel if you're a business person. You could call it whatever you want to call it, but you are going to be the one making sure that what you are seeking, what is portrayed out to people so that they can find you. And that is the key message. So after the NLP coach, and after I came to that awareness about my own responsibility as opposed to looking at what others are doing or not doing to me or for me. Because one of the things, again, one of my mentors says, he says, you want you don't want life to be happening to you. You want life to be happening through you, by you, for you. For you, by you, through you. And that, I was feeling at the time like was happening to me, and that confidence was something I needed to be born with. Being able to just jump up and talk at the speed of light, or very quickly put myself out there, all that, if I was not born with it, then I'm in trouble. That's what I thought then. But through that training, through that merciful opportunity to meet someone and to go put myself forward for this training, it opened my eyes to my responsibility and approach I started to take on my journey. So that's the approach I want to share with you. But at the end as well, I want to share with you a free resource that I've made available for you to be able to download, and you can get that in comments, and you can go and sit down privately and watch that as well, to add to your ability to create that impactful presence that you want to attract your opportunities, the abundance, and the dream clients that you want. So, what exactly was it that I did? I had to acknowledge what I was seeking and the end goal. As Steve Covey would say, start with the end in mind. So, I knew that obviously I wanted progression. I wanted to move forward. I wanted to be recognized for my gifts and talents. I wanted and if it was not happening, how would I make it happen? I guess that's the question. Beginning with the end in mind, where I wanted to get to, I needed to be clear about that in my mind. So when people say visibility, visibility a lot, the key thing is to what purpose and to what end do I need to be visible? Is there an alternative to the visibility that is being talked about? And that then is the next thing. What does it entail? What I really seek? What your end goal is? What does it entail to accomplish it? So there are many ways of being visible. People will say, okay, you have to get on camera and on video. You have to get you have to write post and post every day. You have to be out there all the time, 24/7, for to be heard, to be seen, and to matter. You have to force relationships and collaborate with people, even though the connection sometimes, it takes time to build connection. People really think that it's that quick and that simple. It does take time, but the impression people give is, oh, it can be quick and you just connect and you just have that electric connection and it's all hunky dory and you can now do things together and you can now support each other. Relationships in reality take nurturing. So what you have to do is say, where is the end destination? Then do you need to accomplish it? Having said that, you need to ask yourself, what are you willing and able to do to accomplish it? Whether it's visibility, whether it's making things work, in your career as an introvert, what are you willing and what are you able to do? This allows you to see the gap between where you are, your reality, and what you need to do to close the gap to achieve that presence. I always use presence, and not just presence, impactful presence. So, for example, for me, I went back to my workplace and I looked at my environment. I decided what I really wanted. I was fed up of certain things that were happening. I knew that I had to have an end date for it not to happen to me anymore. So I had to work it out. What was it about there that I didn't like? And I encourage my son, I encourage a lot of people, don't just jump out of an environment. Ask yourself, what is it that I don't like about that environment? What is it about this that I don't like? And what it would it entail to bring out what I really like, what I really want to do? The biggest challenge for many people, and even for myself at the time, was giving myself permission to say, yes, that's what I really want. Nobody else here wants it, but I want it. And that makes me not fit for this environment because it's not going to facilitate it for me. So you need to understand what you're willing to do and able to do to accomplish it. So I began to, once I looked at all those things, I put in place what understanding what was in the gap. I then had to have courage. And that courage has different layers: the courage to be authentic, the courage to be vulnerable. And you have to ask yourself, what does authenticity mean to you? Because when it comes to visibility, people can feel fake and they can feel it's just like what you resonate can either really be attractive or really repelling because people don't find it believable. It's not really you. So I do dance in the shower, but I guess one of the reasons why I don't come on the screen and dance a lot is because it's not yet authentic to me. But so if you ask me to dance and point and do all those things just to achieve a sale, I would struggle with that. Um, but you also sometimes things are taken out of our hands in terms of where we are at and what the market dictates that is needed for that environment. And if you feel that you have a gift, you have a talent to get into that market and make a difference, you have a product, you have to be willing to let, and if part of the journey is letting your real self come true, then you have to find the courage. It's a courageous journey. Whether you want to be promoted, people might not want that kind of person. When I began to apply for jobs and things, when things changed for me from there, it was more about I need to feel that this place works for me too. It's not just about them wanting me, it's me wanting them. And I began to look at that. And I think that's the courageous journey you have to make. You have to allow yourself to be vulnerable. So sometimes people not clicking like on your post is feedback. How do you use that feedback? A lot of people clicking like on your post is feedback. How do you use that feedback? How do you make changes so that you can attract the people that you want to attract? If a flower closes itself, the bee would not be attracted. It needs to release itself, open up itself. And that's the problem. Vulnerability can be difficult. And the final one I want to mention is having a plan for impactful presence. I created a plan for myself. And the plan included those courageous actions, you know, and I was able to find partnership in the person who was leading me at the time, helping me. And thank you, Tolu, for joining us, for joining me. And nice that you love the topic and what we're talking about today. Um, yeah, so basically, I had to do that. I had to create a plan. They say a goal without a plan. When you have a dream and you don't have a plan to execute it, it stays as a dream and it will not be accomplished. Of course, I worked hand in hand with my manager at the time to get my plans going for myself. You have to have a visibility plan. You have to have a plan to create impactful presence. Defining what impactful presence looks like for you and what that will do for you and what you need. And you have a plan. The plan might be tough to execute. So for me, what she pointed out to me then, if it's going to be, it's up to me. So I had to find a plan. I had to execute my plan. And I had to, well, patiently execute the plan and look for the results that I wanted from that plan. And surely and truly, it led me out of the space. I built my confidence. I saw myself differently. The plan really is, first of all, not to hide from your own self. And I think that's the key message. You are hiding from your truth rather than face your truth. Once you set up a plan, there will be things that you need to fix. There will be things that you need to address. There will be areas that you need to work on. So don't hide from your truth. And there will be things that you seek that don't look like you can achieve in your reality. Don't hide from your own truth because like one of my coaching mentors, she says there's a difference between your performance goals and your growth goals. And the reason why you don't achieve your performance goals is because you have growth goals that have not been taken care of. You need to grow into that person that will achieve those performance goals, whether it's work, whether it's business. And so your plan has to include how you're going to achieve and close the gaps that you need to close and achieve the things that you want to achieve. So that's just briefly I wanted to share with you on if you're hiding and still and seeking at the same time, it's a dilemma. As an introvert, I know a lot of introverts that get out there and make things happen and they find ways of making things happen. I make things happen and I find ways of making things happen. I gave myself permission to be my introverted self and not to hate myself for being who I am. That was a big change and a big transformation for me. It cumulated actually. By the time I was on this journey, I remember on my 40th birthday, I even did something that was massive out of character. I threw a massive big party for myself, recognizing and celebrating myself for who I am. And I know that many people that attended then saw a different side. I didn't have as much opportunities to show who I was. But the people that came that day saw me differently. They saw, because I gave myself permission to really be myself. And I think that's the key. If you're hiding and worrying about people's judgment, ask yourself about the judgment you are putting on yourself. Like I said, I've got this free mini course. It's on my website. You can go there, you can download, you can have a worksheet. There are emails that are coming through from there. And I feel like that will help a lot of people. Whether you are in business or career, it will really help you to think through about your strategies to create impactful presence for yourself. Like I said, I work with introverted women to achieve that impactful presence, positioning as an authority in your marketplace to create the right kind of impact, to attract the right kind of opportunities for yourself to profit from your gifts and your talents and leveraging of your strengths. So that's it for now. And yeah, I'm glad for those that were able to join me. And when you watch this, I will appreciate you sharing with me some of your views, some of your takeaways from this. And as usual, I just want to leave you with a couple of things. So, one of the quotes, I love quotes a lot. So, I'm going to leave you with a few today. So, the first one says, "Don't be fooled by my quiet exterior. It hides a wild mind and uh, a wild mind and a very brilliant heart." So, basically, just because you're quiet doesn't mean that you don't have this brilliant mind behind the scenes, and you can use that to find ways of still achieving impactful presence. And the other one about people who struggle a lot with being quiet and thinking that that is holding you back, there is a quote. So the first quote was by John Green. The other one is another one by Plato, and he says, "Wise men, including women, uh, speak when they have something to say, but fools speak because they have to say something." So most of the time, whether it's having posts and so on, or speaking in public, or speaking in meetings, remember that it's nice to speak when you really have something impactful to say that will make a difference. So that's it for today's show. Um, just want to remind you that no matter your challenges, remember, impossible is someone's opinion, and might be based on what you're looking at right now. But if you lift up your eyes, you can decide to change that opinion, and feel free to carve out your own pathway to success, whatever that pathway may be. So feel free to connect with me. Let me know your takeaways from this. Let me know some of, like Tolu said, some of the key phrases and words that resonate with you. And also, if you're an extrovert watching this, what are some of the things that you feel like you can add to the conversation? Feel free to do so. So share this with your friends that you know that will benefit from it as well. And you will find this easily on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. So feel free to subscribe as well for more episodes. So until next time, really wishing you the very, very best, and take care and God bless.